All right, Spring. This is a team that feels as though it's rolling after a 4-1 win. Yeah, they get the empty netter from Nichushkin late here, but they beat the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Avs through 5 games in the early going of this season in October are 4-0-1. It took them 20 minutes to wake up, but the second period was absolutely dominant this evening. Beautiful showings from Brent Burns, Sam Malinsky, Kale Makar, Nathan McKinnon in the top line. But this team looks exactly how we expected them to early.
Hey, where do we even start with this one? There's so many places we could start. They beat a team that they were supposed to be. Now, you know, Raj, when we did our season preview, I had the Blue Jackets as the 8th seed in the East. I think they're a sneaky, solid team. But when the Avs are healthy, and they're healthy right now, they're short Sam Girard, and Logan O'Connor, but that's not enough. Their top 6 is fully intact. Their 3 of their top 4 D are intact. And it's Sam Malinsky, man. I mean, I guess we could start there. I think Sam Malinsky is a hell of a player. And so Kale Makar scores in his 400th game. And what's interesting about this play, and I saw you note this on Twitter, I saw the same thing with my own 2 eyes when I was watching this play unfold, is, there's another line out there. Malinsky's out there, and everyone gets off except for Sam. And then on comes Kale and a whole new line. Sam's the lone Avalanche player left from the previous shift, but he's instrumental in this play. His play in the neutral zone, his skating, his passing, it all ultimately leads to Kale's goal. And of course, it's storybook that Kale would score in his 400th game because he's one of the greatest defensemen of all time. Sam Malinsky has the shot from the point that Valeri Nichushkin tips in for the insurance goal that made it 3-1. For my money, and he only gets 1 assist tonight, but Sam Malinsky was as instrumental as anyone else in tonight's game.
Yeah, Malinsky was exciting to watch this evening. And that play that we're mentioning is the Makar goal that ties this thing up 1-1. And sure, the zone entry is great, and we have these awesome little plays with Natchez and McKinnon going around the net and then recycling back up to the top. You look at the 3 goals that the Avs scored today. That were not with an empty net, and obviously Nichushkin, the 4th and final one, scored with Elvis Merzlikins pulled. All 3 of them are what the Avalanche are bred to do, and that is score and create offense from the point. You get shots from Sam Malinsky, you get shots from Brent Burns, and this one from Cale Makar. But the neutral zone was amazing. I thought Columbus at that point in the hockey game was hanging with Colorado, and it was one of those games that you fell asleep for 20 and then you started to pick it up at the beginning of the second period, but you just couldn't break through yet. You had a couple of power plays that don't really do anything. And we can continue to get into that, which I agree. It's I still think they're getting some decent looks, but it's not necessarily working in a progressive manner like I expected it to. Like I kind of screamed at you about a couple of shows ago. In order for you to break through that neutral zone D Nevison forecheck, and they were doing it wonderfully. Like the Sillinger line was amazing at taking away the neutral zone. They have guys like Provorov and Werenski who are able to step up in the neutral zone, take away the long stretch passes that Avs defensemen like to hit when you go D to D, and then they cut the middle of the ice. Columbus does a good job about stepping up on their defensive blue line in the neutral zone. Malinsky and Makar set that puck in Brent Burns for that matter too at the beginning of it. They set that puck back 2, 3, 4 times and didn't force anything up the middle. It was a thing of beauty, that neutral zone regroup.
It was. It's patience. And yeah, when this team is largely healthy and you're playing a Columbus who's a good team, but when this team with their one loss, their overtime losses to the Dallas Stars, if this team is healthy, largely healthy and on their game, it has to be right now the way they're playing. It has to be a Dallas. It has to be a Vegas. It has to be an Edmonton. Those are the only types of teams that can get them right now, so long as they play their best brand of hockey and they are largely healthy. Columbus played well. I think the Avs were out shooting them 14-11 when Columbus was leading 1-0
Correct.
just before the Avs scored that game time goal. And then I think the Avs had the next like 10 shots on goal. And it just wasn't even close the rest of the way. I mean, there's just a large gap. There's a large difference between what a team like Colorado and a handful of other teams in the league bring to the table versus a team like Columbus. And they're an admirable team. Hey, how about Charlie Coyle? He's my guy. You know, I'm a Charlie Coyle guy. He was a -2 tonight. Wasn't really a factor at all. There's good young talent on this team, but none of them really popped in this game. Kirill Marchenko had a shot, short left side that hit the inside post. That was about all that I noticed in the back half.
Chinikov tried to throw a puck in and was upset that it got called. Like, the story of tonight's game is that Columbus tried to throw 2 pucks into the net after they got frustrated in the second and the third period. And turns out you can't do that.
Yeah. Hey, here, I'm trying to bring this. Can I bring this comment up here? For some reason, I can't. BF in the chat says, look at the Avs with 56% in the faceoffs. Drury is a dog. You know, before their first goal, they have a look where Colton shoots one in the slot. It's a really good play from that third line. And Drury is there on the doorstep for what I thought in the moment was like an easy rebound goal, but it kind of rebounded awkwardly off of Elvis Merzlikins, who was very good in the early portions of this game. He was keeping Columbus in that thing, keeping the Avs off the score sheet. He's a solid goaltender. And then it was Drury who won the faceoff in the defensive zone that set up that sequence. So even though Drury couldn't finish that Colton shot, and I thought Ross Colton was a beast. Victor Olofsson continues. So look, man, I will admit when I'm wrong. And so far through the season, like, I was concerned that Olofsson wouldn't play on Coyle's level. Bro, he kind of has. He's actually exceeded what we saw with, and I think Charlie Coyle has had a hell of a career. It's why I was so high on him. But Victor Olofsson has been great.
Right. They are vastly different players, right? Like,
Charlie
Coyle thrives as a two-way player, as a defensive-minded centerman, a guy who can kill penalties. You obviously saw him on the kill against Colorado this evening. You saw him on the kill at 5-on-3 last year when he was playing in burgundy and blue. Is Victor Olofsson that guy for you? No, he is not that type of player, but what he is a driver of offense. And that third line you mentioned, they get grade A looks all the time, all game long. They just don't find a way to have anyone tally this evening, right? You have non-first line players scoring tonight with Nichushkin, one on a tip from Brock Nelson, one tipped from Nichushkin, the empty netter, and then the Cale Makar goal, all non-first line forward players. Cale obviously being a first line defender, puts a little bit of a wrench into that sentence there. The third line was your best line this evening. I thought from top to bottom, even in a first period where Colorado they were sleepy, the third line was not. Olofsson's gonna. I don't see you when O'Connor comes back, man. I don't see Olofsson getting booted off this roster. I think Joel Kiviranta right now is the odd man out.
It might be Kiviranta, which is a surprise because I've been a big Kiviranta fan in his time with Colorado, but that's how well Olofsson has played. And I don't even know if I can take Olofsson off the third line at this point. That's how well he's played. Is O'Connor a fourth liner when he comes back? I mean, it goes to show the depth of this team, and I kind of underrated it. Olofsson has been great, and Jack Drury, his faceoff numbers are just ridiculous. 7 out of 10 tonight, and just on the season overall. I mean, that is just a nice little ace to have, a little weapon to have. It just creates more puck possession when you can win those faceoffs. And Ross Colton, man, if someone were to go down, he's the guy who elevates. I think Ross has played great this season. I thought you had a great point a few shows ago. If Ross didn't break his foot, I think that's what it was. After his hot start last year, he just wasn't the same player. He seems to be that player again. Now, he's not the production isn't there, but you watch him play. And by production, I mean points and goals, whatever. He's playing very well. Yeah, that third line, and this is at least the second game this season, Raj, where they have played They've been the best line on the ice. I thought this was a game where the second line got a goal. Brock Nelson scored. Val Nichushkin got 2 goals. Gabe Landeskog was, to me, this was the first game where I barely noticed Gabe Landeskog out there. And he didn't practice yesterday. We were told that that was a rest maintenance day. But, Raj, I barely noticed Gabe Landeskog out there today.
I mean, I'm not expecting him to impact games as much as Nathan MacKinnon, Val Nichushkin impact games with his carrying of the puck as much as Cale Makar or Marty Necas or Brock Nelson at this point. I'm not expecting him to be a game breaker. I'm not. That's not what I'm looking for him to do. I'm looking for him to do the little things right, which is not get scored on, get pucks out of the zone, get to the net front. Now, where you're going to see a change here, right, is you have to put him on the power play. He has to be net front. If you want to spark Gabriel Landeskog, you are right. He has to be net front on the power play. Now, I liked how they moved today, but there were a couple opportunities where Makar was able to get a puck over from Necas, walk the middle because Columbus was so terrified about the one-timer opportunity from Nathan MacKinnon. Makar is able to go across that golden line from left to right, get across the center ice line, what would be that center ice fault line, and throw a shot through. Lehkonen missed 2 tips today. Now, he's in a great spot. He's a good net front presence, and he's good with pucks around the crease. We've seen that despite him being, not 6'2" and 210 pounds. He's very good in terms of corralling pucks and getting them toward net on rebounds or deflections or blocks. He's awesome at it. He's not Gabe in terms of redirecting. He's not.
No, he's admirable. He's admirable. Okay, it's funny because, look, in tonight's game, and even in the Buffalo game, and we ended up not doing it between the pipes after the Buffalo game, but certainly tonight,
Kreckman and Lindahl were live at that point. We couldn't do it. You had to work.
Yeah, I had to work. You got a kid. It is what it is.
She was not. She was not having it that day. She was not having it that day, man.
That was a Buffalo Sabres fan.
Sure, we'll call it that evening.
She likes Bo and Byram. Now tonight, the Avs one power play comes in the third period when they're up. I think 3. Yeah, they're up 3-1 at that point. So it was a largely inconsequential power play. And I bring up the Buffalo game because I can't remember how many they had, but I know one of them late. It was 3-1 as well. It might have been a second one as well, where the game was kind of already over. So, okay, fine. These games are already over. We're on when they're on these recent power plays. They're up 3-1. The sense of urgency isn't quite there. Okay. But Raj, I was sitting in the studio in the control room watching the power play against Buffalo, and I kept saying out loud to anyone who would listen to me, I hate this fucking power play. And I kind of felt the same way, even though this was a nothing. It's, it's 3-1. This game's over. Just as we approach the midway point of the third period tonight. And look, I like Artturi Lehkonen in that slot role. Can he play net front? Yes, he can, but he's undersized. And I think that's their biggest...
I don't give a shit. No, I don't give a flying what about Lehkonen's size net front of the power play. He does just fine. I care about his ability to redirect pucks.
That's obviously the most important thing.
He does fine being an undersized player. He doesn't get knocked out of the way. For me, he corrals rebounds off the pad better than almost any player on the team.
But okay, fair. But and to that point, one of the best tippers, net front players and tipping of the puck is one of the most, if not the most important attribute. One of the best at that in the entire league is Gabe Landeskog. So,
yes.
Yeah, was he sleepy 5-on-5 with the second line tight? And this was the first game where I felt that way. Yes. But I do think that this power play setup, like I said, it's 2 out wide. I need a Landeskog net front. I even need a Nichushkin net front if you can't give me Gabe. I just think he's better in that role than Lehkonen. I think size matters. I think size matters, Raj. And Nichushkin has that size. Now, with the second line, though, look, it's good to see Brock Nelson get his first goal. of the season. You know, he gets in that slot, he tips it on that slot shot from Brent Burns, and Brent Burns has been so good at the point.
That was his best game of the 5. Today's his best game.
He's had some moments, yeah, maybe start to finish. This was, it's good to see Brockett on the score sheet, and you know, hey man, he got his wrist sliced, he got his wrist cut in that Buffalo game by Bowen Byram, and boy, does that give you flashbacks to Cale Makar and Gabe Landeskog. You do not like to see that. Emo Brock Nelson tonight, Raj. He just had to cut his wrist.
Jesus. Oh my goodness.
And he finds the score sheet. Did you see Joe Burrow's look with the Bengals tonight? So his
I
hair
sure did. Yeah, he's
looking
very
emo.
AFI is what he looks like he should be, and he should be a Black Parade, My Chemical Romance type of guy.
Shout out to Michael Scarn on Twitter. He hit me with because they're in Columbus, Ohio. It was a big Ohio is for lovers night, and the Bengals are from Ohio. So hey, Hawthorne Heights. It was emo Brock Nelson night. You just got to cut that dude's wrist, and he can score a goal for you. Cut my wrist and black my eyes.
I definitely think that tonight was it almost felt like an unlosable hockey game to me, just because you believe in Columbus way more than I do. I think they got the first year head coaching bump in Dean Evison last year. I don't believe you're going to get the same version of Zach Werenski this season that you did last year. I don't think Zach Werenski is going to go anywhere. I think he's going to continue to be one of the top 5 defensemen in the world. I just don't think he's going to challenge Cale in terms of point pace like he did certainly at the first 50% to 75% of the season. He will make Team USA. He will be a very good blue liner come the Cortina Olympics in 2026 on, I think, February 5 is when that tournament starts. He'll be on that team. I just don't see enough firepower on Columbus right now. I think they're a scrappy team. I don't think they're a bottom feeder. I think they'll be the 9 or the 10 seed in Columbus or in the Eastern Conference. It just felt like it was a game that they could not lose today. I got to mention one thing that I saw last night, man. I hate that I love it. The Utah Mammoth black jersey is fucking awesome.
Hey, how about Tusky?
Tusky's a cool-looking mascot. Well, it's a cool-looking mascot. It's a lame name. Tusky is a stupid name for a mascot. I think it's dumb.
Of course, and I saw Pierre LeBrun tweet this and several others, but seriously, the first thing that came to my mind was Eric Tulsky, the GM of the Carolina Hurricanes.
This is a stupid name, but the mascot looks dope, and I thought the breaking out of the ice cave was also cool. It felt a little Dingerish to me.
Yeah, dude, I was at the game where Dinger broke out of the egg. I was 5 years old, and I was at that game.
Dude, Dinger gets way too much shit. I love me some Dinger.
Dinger's
fine. Dinger's an underrated. I don't think he's like the Philly Fanatic. Don't get me wrong. I think he's an underrated mascot that gets way too much crap.
I agree. I'd honestly put. No offense to anyone, I would put Dinger number 2 in this town. I think that Rocky is
Super Mascot Rocky is far and away
Hall of Fame,
not even close.
First ballot.
Yeah, when you talk about first ballot Hall of Fame mascots, you talk about the Philly Fanatic, the Phoenix Suns Gorilla, Super Mascot Rocky. Are those your 3? Your 3 shootings?
Yeah, they're Mount Rushmore. Those are Mount Rushmore. Dinger is, he's actually upper tier. He's a solid mascot.
I guess I have a soft spot in my heart for Youppi in Montreal because I think the story behind Youppi is hilarious. Do you know the story about how Youppi, the big orange, furry monster in Montreal, came to be?
I do not.
He was the mascot for the Montreal Expos, and he scared the children too much that the Expos said, we don't want him, but there was enough of a cult following in Montreal that said, we can't get rid of Youppi. He has to stay here. So the Montreal Canadiens then adopted Youppi after he got fired from the Montreal Expos for being too scary for children.
Okay, that's fun. And
love Youppi.
Kind of with Tusky has a little bit of a snarl on his face.
Yeah, he's a little mean. I like it.
He's also skinny.
Hold on. If we're given a yeah, like he's got a snarl, he's kind of jacked.
Well, yeah, if I
He's like
honestly
the
in
BYU
the
Cougar.
dinger, in the gritty, even the Yuppie vibe, like I almost would view a mammoth mascot to be a little to have that wide belly, you
Well, I don't.
know?
What's the Colorado Mammoth lacrosse team's mascot is a woolly mammoth, and he's kind of portly.
Sure. Yeah.
He looks like he's eaten, a Cro-Magnon man or two in his day.
Yeah. Tusky is on Ozempic.
You know the one I'm missing? The frickin' Indianapolis Colts mascot.
See, if it doesn't come top to mind, then it's not.
No, but he is he has the Indianapolis Colts mascot has an all-time hip thrust.
Oh, yeah. Okay, because Cam Bynum, when he had that interception, yes, now I see him.
All-time
and they
hip
did the hip thrust together.
Yeah. And he also, when they do the when they do the Pop Warner football games during halftime, nobody goes harder in that game than the Indianapolis Colts mascot in terms of pummeling 7-year-old children into the turf.
Hey, F them kids. All right.
I want to do that so bad. Like I want that to happen for
stiff arm them.
I want a bunch of 12-year-olds on the ice, 10 to 12-year-olds on the ice. And I want to get in the Bernie costume. Actually, screw that. I want to get in the Howler costume because I'm sure it's still in the annals and Ball Arena somewhere. I want to get the Howler costume on, and I want to paste some 11-year-old up and over the boards during the second intermission of like a Blackhawks Avs game.
Well, it's kind of like that South Park episode, Stanley's Cup, where the Pee Wee team plays the Red Wings.
It's too good, man. It's too damn good. I know I brought us off on a big tangent, but I just wanted to say I hate the fact that I love the Utah Mammoth home jerseys.
I think black is a good
much.
color. Black's a good color for a lot of uniforms. It's sleek, and you get that blue mixed in there. It's very nice.
You know what's brutal right now too is the start to the season for the Central Division. You have to be at your top of your game. Like the fact that the Avs are 4-0-1 is massive. Dallas is probably going to lose tonight to Vancouver. They were up 2-0 early. They've had 4 unanswered scored on them by the Canucks on the road. Have the Canucks done that on just 23 shots? There's 9 minutes to go in the third period there. Other Central Division action this evening. The Jets get a 5-2 win over the Philadelphia Flyers. And I believe those are the Canadiens come back and beat the Predators in overtime. Cole Caulfield gets a second overtime winner of the season. As we look at the standings, man, the Central is brutal. Every single team, all 8 teams in the Central Division, as of right now, this minute, are 500 or better. And I know it's early.
This is going to be Dallas's first loss of the season, right? And it's gonna happen. You know, Vancouver's a formidable opponent, and you're going to lose eventually. So it looks like it's going to come here tonight. Mikko Rantanen does have a goal in this game. He made it 2-0 Dallas, but then bam, 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 Vancouver takes a 4-2 lead. Yeah, tough division. How about the Blackhawks just wiping? I mean, just wiping the floor in St. Louis, wiping the floor with the Blues. Last night, it was like a 7-2. It was a crazy, just dominant win. Yeah, tough division. So this is why it's so important that the Avs are healthy, have a complete roster, have the goaltending, and have turned that into a 4-0-1 start. And you got the Bruins on Saturday night, who they're in Vegas. That puck, I'm sure, dropped just a few minutes ago. Do like the Knights to beat Boston tonight. That was actually one of my picks tonight. Actually, Boston's up to a 1-0 lead. Screw me. But Boston's a team that you should beat. And that's coming up on Saturday night. You should be 5-0-1. It's at home. Yeah. You should move to 5-0-1. It's tough division. You got to we've learned last season, these points that you can get early in the season, they matter.
Boston's not a playoff team, right? Like they showed you last year, where you're going to move on from players that we like, players that we love, legendary players like Brad Marchand, cornerstone pieces like Brandon Carlo, Colorado Thunderbird alumni, grew up playing here in Denver. I thought the Avs were going to be able to get him at the trade deadline last year, but he goes from Boston to Toronto and stays as a Maple Leaf as he was under contract. Just Games and Others comes in on YouTube and says, did you guys see Slavyov actually drive a guy out of the crease the first time I've seen someone do that this year. Yeah, I saw that in the third period. If he wants to stay in the lineup, man, especially when Sam gets healthy, and it would then be a competition between Malinsky and Slavyov to have that sixth and final spot. If he wants to stay in the lineup, man, that's one thing he can do. If you can be a crease bouncer, when pucks are bouncing around Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood, you can stay in the lineup. I noticed that in the third period too. It was earlier on. I want to say it was like between the 13 the 15-minute mark that I saw. It was right as the whistle blew. So he just like drove a guy to the end boards. Maybe I'm a little bit early in the period, but it's something that I did take mental note of. I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, since the Dallas game where I called out Slavyov for his for getting lost on the Nathan Bastian goal that made it 2-2, that the Stars tied that game up on. He hasn't done anything negative. He's made some plays. That being said, and my guy Eric Rabbers sent me this on Twitter, the Hockey Stat Cards Twitter account. They graded Sam Malinsky as the best Avs player tonight, and that's who we opened the show. That's who we opened the show talking about, was Sam Malinsky. So good to see that the analytics confirm what we saw with our own eyes tonight. And their metrics, it's a 0 through 6. Sam was at about a 5.2. The next closest was Nichushkin, who was excellent tonight, and he's been excellent the past few games. You know I love Val Nichushkin, and this is one of my things. Like, you know how big of a Val guy I've been. This goes back to the Mikko Rantanen days, where oftentimes I would say, I know that Mikko's got this and that, but there were so many nights where I'm like, dude, Val is their second best forward because of what he presents. Now he's playing on the second line, and Marty Necas has been great. I thought it was and this is Marty Necas. He's a streaky player. I don't think he was excellent tonight. Val is just that big, solid. There's a reason that the Choo Choo Train nickname fits. It's not just because it's Nichushkin and you can go choo choo off that. No, he's a fucking train. Like, he's big, he's fast, he's mean. And one thing I love about him is his skating radius. He's always so tight with his movements and efficient. I mean, he is a train in its fullest sense. And he was the Avs' second highest graded player tonight. He gets 2 goals. One of them is an empty netter, but he's at like a 3.9. So Malinsky grading at a 5.2. Dude, I mean, so look, Slavyov, yeah, much better last 2 games, but you ain't knocking Sam Malinsky out of the lineup. And that dude he's part of the Avs' plans going forward. I promise you.
You mentioned the skating style of Val Nichushkin, and by no means am I saying that these two players are anywhere near the same level or same pedigree of hockey player. His stride when he's going reminds me of late 2000s, early 2010s Evgeny Malkin.
Sure.
Like a big-bodied player that has a wide base, but doesn't feel as though he plays outside his wide base. And it's almost as though you look at him and you go, is he really skating at 100%? And they are. It's just because they're so damn big that it feels as though they could go even faster. Like, Malkin's 6'5" and 200 pounds. Nichushkin's got a little bit more weight to him. He's slightly shorter. I think Nuke is like 6'4", 215, if I'm correct on the stat sheet. They're very similarly sized players. Malkin's slightly lighter and certainly more skilled. Like, Evgeny Malkin is a shoe-in,
yeah, he is
first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest hockey players ever to grace the face of the earth. When Nichushkin's going and he's healthy, they look super similar, man. Really
Nichushkin's, he's never out of control. He always has his base around him. He always makes the most efficient movement. It's quick, it's subtle, but it's also explosive. He has a couple turnovers in this game. I think he had the turnover that led to the Blue Jackets' lone goal. And he did have a turnover shortly thereafter where he kind of fed a puck near the blue line to Zach Aston Reese, who had a little bit of a breakup, but the Avs were able to recover, and Wedgwood made the save. But No, he's playing great. You saw it in the Dallas game where, that was his first game of the season where he was extremely noticeable. He's such a good player. It's why, I mean, Nichushkin at just over $6 million a year is just an absolute steal. And I love Marty Necas, but I mean, Nichushkin's been doing this on this team for years at a very high level. I mean, I'm going to need to see Necas do that night in, night out in a way that Val does. Val has been so underrated and so unheralded, is one of my favorite players in terms of the underrated aspect. He is a beast, dude.
Ben asks on YouTube what's been going on with Val's defense and his checking this year. I have noticed it, right? Like, I'm not
I haven't
saying
noticed it as much.
For me, he's so noticeable on the defensive side of the puck because of what he does in the neutral zone, where he's always that first guy back. He's always within 2 stick lengths of the puck, even though he's a winger. Like, he's just in the right spot every single time. I've noticed it a little bit. I don't think it is poor. I don't think it is nearly as great as he has been in years past. And this is the reason why I think it's the case. He's playing with two incredibly responsible defensive players. Brock Nelson and Gabe Landeskog are not going to get beat out of position. They are known to be excellent 200-foot players that take care of their own defensive structure first and then go to offense. And I do wonder if this has been a little bit of direction from Jared Bednar, from Dave Hackstall, looking at Gabe and going, or rather Val Nichushkin and going, these two guys are going to be fine. We want you to take a couple more chances on the offensive side of the puck because you are the guy that's going to drive offense. You are the player on your second line who can score 35 goals plus if he plays 82 games in the season. Gabe's not going to do it at this point, likely. And Brock Nelson likely isn't going to be a 35 plus goal scorer. You, Val Nichushkin, are. Now, the way to do that is to unleash him offensively and tell him, you're going to be fine. Like, we trust you to be a 200-foot player, but you don't have to be the first guy back all the time because 92 and 11 are going to take care of it. I don't have anything. I don't have anything to back that up. That is just for the first 5 games. I've noticed it and I've gone, I wonder if they've talked to that player and went, if we're going to get scoring from this line, it has to start with you.
Well, I want to say another thing about Val too, and it's a not just him thing. Avs kill 2 penalties tonight. Columbus goes 0 for 2 on the power play. Avs, I don't have updated numbers here, but coming into tonight, they were middle of the league, 15th in the NHL in the PK, 83.3%. So that number will bump up a little bit. It's funny, the best team in the league on the PK is the Bruins, who have not allowed a power play goal. They've killed every single power play that they've faced. That's who the Avs will face on Monday. This is Bruins 100% on the PK. Avs power play has left a lot to be desired for me, and you're starting to even feel it, Raj. This is what happens when a stoppable force that should be unstoppable, considering the talent, meets a force that has been unstoppable so far this season. Can the Avs break the Bruins PK? Maybe the Knights will do it tonight. In fact, Vegas has scored. They have tied this game at 1. It was not on the power play. But the Avs PK, and the kill 2 tonight, I feel like they're on a little streak here. I need to go back and look, but the PK has been very good of late. And I'm telling you, man, Val Nichushkin is such a good penalty killing forward. He is a nightmare for other teams to go against at that forward checking spot. And they're putting Brock Nelson out there with them. That's dangerous. Val and Brock as your 2 starting forwards, and they have depth too. They can throw Lehkonen out there. They can throw O'Connor when he's back. Kiviranta, Parker Kelly is serviceable. And then as their top 2 D-men, I mean, it's Makar and Taves. When you have that top 4 of Nichushkin, Nelson, Makar, Taves, I know that the Avs are middle of the league stats-wise in the PK right now. It's early in the season. I'm telling you, when I see those 4 out there, good luck. Good luck, because Val Nichushkin is a pest. He's going to throw sticks. He's going to be tight with his movements. He's going to come at you. Brock Nelson is big and savvy himself. Makar and Taves, you know what they bring defensively. Those 4 Love that PK. That's one of, if not the best in the league. I don't care what the numbers say right now. That's a great PK unit, and that's an underrated thing.
I completely agree with you. The power play is 8 of 8 going back to the middle of the Utah game. They go 2
Killed
of
their
2
last
tonight.
8.
They've killed their last 8 going back to the middle of that Utah game. It's been really solid. You mentioned something today earlier on the show as we wrap it up here. We'll do a quick one tonight. We'll get ready for the Bruins in a couple of evenings. You mentioned the face-off numbers from Jack Drury, right? Like, we knew he was going to be great. We knew he was going to take a lot of draws, and we knew he was going to win a lot of draws. Going into tonight's game, 59.6. He gets a 70% mark this evening. It's going to go up north of 60 to start the year. You know where Nathan MacKinnon was going into tonight's game?
I do not, but his faceoff numbers have been better as the years have gone on.
59.6 going into tonight's game. And he was a 52% draw man this evening. It's going to drop very, very slightly. But I think that's something that if we're going to gush about Jack Drury, it's something that we need to give Nathan MacKinnon his flowers on, because it's something he sucked at the beginning of his career, and he has worked very, very hard to get better at, to ensure that his line gets possession of the puck more often than not, rather than having to spend 15, 20 seconds regaining possession. And then, as we know, any Nathan MacKinnon line is a puck possession monster during the season. If he runs north of 55%, man, that can get dangerous quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too long ago where they were having Mikko Rantanen take faceoffs on that line because Nate, that was like his one flaw as a center. But you know what? It's remarkable. It's really, you could see it starting last season, and it's gotten even better. It tells you that this guy's put in the work. That's something that he's worked on in the off season, in practice, and it is paying off. And then Brock Nelson wins 8, loses 9. Still a good clip. You'll take that clip every day. So, I mean, 1, 2, 3C is winning draws. And Nelson gets his first goal. And it's funny because, man, I was thinking, and Brock Nelson is a great player, but and they're facing Casey Middlestad on Saturday. And I'm thinking, like, is there just a curse of the 2C on this team? Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Just since Nas, like Brock Nelson on paper, he's great with the Islanders, and I don't know, it's just left a touch to be desired here, even though he has played well overall. Is there just a curse of the 2C with this team? Well, Nelson gets his first goal tonight. He's been solid in the faceoff circle, and obviously Jack Drury's been great. Here's my last thing, Raj. I got one more thing from tonight's game. Overturned goal in this game. What'd you think about that? Because so it was Dmitry Voronkov who net front puck.
Oh, I thought it was Chinikov. It was Veronica. There's too many ovs on the
Yeah, there's a lot of Kovs.
There's a lot of there's Chinikov.
It was Voronkov. And so he clearly extends his left arm as if like his brain instinctual reaction is to chuck this puck into the net. But here's the thing. When you watch the replay, it kind of does just bounce off of his chest. Now, maybe it does barely touch that left hand as it extends, maybe. And then, look, you got to have irrefutable, indisputable evidence, all that jazz to overturn the call on the ice. So, yes, you could say that puck did graze that left hand, but I don't know. It kind of looked like a guy from Russia who's never thrown a ball in his life. Like, that's what it looked like.
How's this? I firmly believe that had he not tried to grab the puck, which is what that motion was not forcing the puck into the net. It looked as though it was grabbing the puck and trying to then throw it down. He just missed it. And as a result, it hits both like his hand and his chest and then redirects into the net. But that movement then shows as forcibly pushing the puck toward the net. Had he just skated into the puck, hit him in the chest and went in, it's a goal.
Yeah.
I think that movement, exactly, and it being a hand pass, right? So, like, had that touched another Blue Jackets stick before it went into the net, it's a hand pass and it gets pulled outside the zone, which is something that we saw at the end of the game when it was 3-1 Colorado and there was a flurry in front of the net. And I want to say it was Cole Sillinger who grabbed a puck out of midair and tossed one down onto the ice Columbus scores, it would have been the same exact play. It would have been a hand pass. I agree with the call on the ice. I still believe that I think those rules should be relaxed. I think you should be able to kick a puck into the net. I think you should be able to headbutt a puck into the net. I don't think that you should be able to catch a puck and throw it, but I do believe that you should be able to like chicken wing a puck into the net. Do
Yeah,
I
I
think you
think
should be able to like open hand slap it in as though you were a volleyball player? No. But like if I wanted to throw a right shoulder at a puck and it goes in the net, why not?
I agree with that. I actually have nothing more to add. But you mentioned the hand pass too late, and that took a goal back that would have made it 3-2 at the time. So two goals that were overturned via hand maneuvers. I always
Hand
get a
stuff.
I always get a kick, and I'll give full credit to
The
Nate
hand stuff
Kreckman.
game.
I'll give full credit to Nate Kreckman, who refers to the Blue Jackets as the BJs. Very nice. Very nice. But they weren't the BJs tonight, Raj. They were the handies.
Oh, they were the handies, man. Just playing some handball out there. All right, it's gonna do it for us tonight. Before we get out of here, Cole Caulfield is plus 6,500 to win the Rocket Richard right now.
Hey, did I not throw that at
sure
that number out early?
And I think the number was
season?
even higher when you called it at the beginning of the year. I'll go back and look, man, because he is on fire. 5 goals in his first 4 games this year, 2 of which over the last 2 games have been overtime winners. Cole Caulfield is a dude that if Montreal is good this year, he's going to have to score close to 50 goals. I think he's going to be a sneaky Rocket Richard dark horse. Keep a lookout for him. His goal tonight was beautiful. I love that Montreal team. And then the other coolest thing that I saw in hockey, did you see what the Anaheim Ducks did for their first home game last night?
I was actually watching some of this game. There was a gentleman that they were honoring. It was what was it, Raj? I was watching this game, but I wasn't like fully locked in. There was they honored this dude. It appeared to be, and I don't want to get it wrong. So tell me what it was.
Oh no, hold on. So you and I are looking at different things. They celebrated a Navy veteran.
Yes.
He was a double amputee. Doc Jacobs.
Yes,
joined
that's
the
exactly
ice
what
there.
it was.
So he lost both of his legs during an IED attack in Iraq back in 2006. Now I shouldn't say that that's not something that I clocked. Like it was a really cool moment. My thing is a little bit more vain. Did you see the old school Halloween style duck masks that they lined the seats with?
No, I didn't see. I mean, they were in their all oranges last night. I watched a good chunk of this game.
Brother, you got to go on Twitter and try and find them out. They're remember the old Disney cartoon that they had about the Mighty Ducks?
Mm-hmm.
It's the logo, the helmet, goalie face mask logo. They had it on every seat at the Honda Center last night. Everyone went home with them. It's so sweet. Like you're gonna find it on Twitter, you're gonna be like, "Damn, that's cool."
Hey, look, Anaheim was another one of my sneaky picks, and they beat the Penguins last night, and now the Penguins trail 2-0 in LA. Sidney Crosby. Yeah.
All right,
I want one of those masks, bro.
You gotta go take a peek.
Anaheim last night. Should have flown out there.
We're gonna get out of here. Saturday night, 7 p.m. Avs and Bruins. They return back home. We will talk to you guys right here on YouTube, on Twitter, starting at about 10 p.m. after Bruins and Avs. They are 4-0-1. Look to be 5-0-1 to start the weekend. But for Spring, I'm Raj. Thanks so much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night and go watch the end of 2 octogenarians throwing the football around.